The world is loud. People are loud. Distractions are loud. And most people lose their entire life reacting to the noise outside instead of strengthening the voice within. But the ones who win, they do something different. They neutralize the noise. They refuse to be pulled, shaken, or manipulated by anything external. This audiobook is your training ground. This is where you learn to silence the chaos and sharpen the inner voice that makes winners.
Listen, before anything else in your life improves, your money, your confidence, your relationships, your discipline, one thing must be mastered first: your attention. Because your attention is the steering wheel of your entire existence. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. Where your energy goes, your life grows. And if you don't control that attention, someone else will. That's the key. Most people don't lose their goals because they're weak. They lose because they spend their attention like loose change. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, scrolling, reacting, arguing, checking, replying, repeating a cycle that destroys their focus without them even noticing. Every distraction you obey is a withdrawal from the bank account of your future. Every unnecessary notification you open is a tiny cut into your potential. And every moment wasted on noise is a moment stolen from your own greatness. I want you to understand this. Attention is the real currency of your life. Not money, not time, attention. Because whatever controls your attention eventually controls your decisions, and whatever controls your decisions controls your destiny. If they can control your attention, they can control your life. Say it again in your mind. If they can control your attention, they can control your life. This is why elite performers live differently. They protect their attention with military-level discipline. They don't respond to everything. They don't check everything. They don't react to everything. They move with intention, not impulse. They understand that attention is not free. It is expensive. It is scarce, and it must be guarded. Look around you. Look at how people behave today. A teenager opens their phone to check a message and wakes up 45 minutes later lost in a maze of videos they didn't even choose. A grown adult gets triggered by a comment and spends 3 hours typing essays to strangers online, as if the argument earns them anything. Someone posts something stupid and instantly 10 people jump to reply because their attention was hijacked before they even felt it happen. Think about this. The average person spends 3 to 5 hours a day scrolling. Scrolling at red lights, scrolling in bed, scrolling at work, scrolling while taking a break, scrolling because they'd rather escape their life than build it. And then they complain about not having time. They complained about not making progress. They complained about not being successful. But it's not about lack of time. It's about lack of discipline. You have a choice. You always have a choice. You can obey the noise, or you can obey your purpose. You can give your attention away, or you can invest it. You can live on autopilot, or you can live in control. That's the key. People say, but it's just one video. No, it's not just one video. It's a crack in your focus. It's a leak in your concentration. It's a habit forming. It's you teaching your mind to chase stimulation instead of direction. And once your mind gets addicted to noise, silence becomes uncomfortable. Stillness becomes painful. Focus becomes impossible. I want you to see the real trap. The world wants your attention because attention is profit. Apps fight for it. Platforms fight for it. Companies spend billions designing systems to capture it. They know that if they get your attention, they get your mind. If they get your mind, they get your decisions. And if they get your decisions, they get your money. You don't even notice it happening, but it's happening every time you scroll without thinking. This is why the greatest performers, the most disciplined minds, the strongest leaders, they all do the same thing. They build barriers around their attention. They limit what enters their mind. They eliminate noise the way athletes eliminate distractions. They don't allow random stimulation to decide how they think or feel. They choose what deserves their mind. They choose what deserves their time. They choose what deserves their energy. And that's what you must do too. Let me give you real examples. A world-class athlete doesn't check their phone before a game. They guard their mental clarity. A top CEO doesn't respond to 50 messages before noon. They guard their strategic thinking. A disciplined student doesn't open social media while studying. They guard their cognitive bandwidth. But the average person? They leave their mental door wide open. Anyone can barge in. Any message, any notification, any opinion, any distraction. And then they wonder why they feel unfocused, anxious, overwhelmed, unproductive. They wonder why life feels chaotic. Simple reason: their attention is unprotected. You have a choice. Start protecting it. Here's the instruction, and it's simple, but not easy. Create attention rules for yourself, rules that cannot be broken, rules that turn your mind from reactive to intentional. Rules such as no phone for the first hour of the day, no notifications except what actually matters, no scrolling without a timer, no responding instantly unless it affects your mission, no multitasking when focus is required. These rules might seem small, but they build a fortress around your mind. They build discipline, they prevent chaos from entering, and most importantly, they give you back the power you forgot you had. Because here's the truth: you don't need their permission to protect your attention. You don't need approval to guard your peace. You don't need validation to build discipline. This is your life, your mind, your energy, and your future depends on how you spend your attention today. Let me remind you again, if they can control your attention, they can control your life. But if you control your attention, you control everything. When you master this concept, everything changes. Your stress drops, your clarity increases, your decisions sharpen, your productivity multiplies, your confidence grows. Because the mind that is focused becomes powerful. The mind that is scattered becomes weak. You have a choice. You always have a choice. And today you choose control. Now listen carefully as we transition. You just learned how to guard your attention. Now you must learn how to stop reacting to everything that tries to steal it.
This chapter will save you years of stress, years of emotional exhaustion, years of wasted energy. Because most people don't lose their peace from big disasters. They lose it from small reactions, repeated 1,000 times a day. A message, a comment, a notification, an opinion, a demand, a pressure, a random voice that enters their space and instantly triggers a reaction. But here is the truth. You don't need to react to everything. You don't need to respond to every ping, every vibration, every request, every insult, every expectation. Not every noise deserves your energy. Not every noise deserves your reply. That's the key. You think reacting makes you responsible. You think reacting makes you polite. You think reacting makes you respectful. No. Reacting instantly makes you accessible. Reacting instantly makes you weak. Reacting instantly makes you controlled by whatever enters your world. And remember, if something can control your reactions, it can control your day. And if it can control your day, it can control your life. You have a choice that most people never use, the choice not to react. Think about how the average person behaves. Someone sends them a text, they respond instantly. Someone posts something online, they argue instantly. Someone pressures them, they fold instantly. Someone triggers them, they explode instantly. Their emotions are like an open door, and anyone can walk in. Let's go deeper. Scenario 1. The message. Your phone lights up. You feel the urge. You feel the pull. You feel the compulsion to respond right now, right away. Not because it's important, but because you've been trained to react. Silence is uncomfortable for most people. Pause is uncomfortable for most people. Not responding is uncomfortable for most people. But discomfort builds discipline. You have a choice. Let the message sit. Let the pressure dissolve. Let the moment breathe. You don't need their permission to take your time. You don't need anyone's approval to protect your peace. Not every noise deserves your energy. Not every noise deserves your reply. Scenario 2. The pressure. Someone asks you for something. They want an immediate answer. They want your time. They want your attention. They want your energy. But urgency from them does not equal priority for you. Their pressure is not your responsibility. Their expectation is not your obligation. You have a choice. Say, "I'll get back to you." Say, "Let me think." Say, "Not right now." These are not signs of disrespect. They are signs of discipline. It's not about being rude. It's about being intentional. It's not about saying no to them. It's about saying yes to your sanity. Scenario 3. The opinion. Someone criticizes you. Someone disagrees with you. Someone misunderstands you. Someone throws their judgment at you. Your instinct is to defend yourself, to explain yourself, to prove yourself, to correct them. But you don't need to react to opinions that don't build you. You don't need to pour energy into people who aren't invested in your growth. You don't owe clarity to those who only want conflict. You have a choice. Let them think what they want. Let them misunderstand. Let them judge. Because their opinion is not your life, their words are not your identity, and their noise is not your responsibility. Say it again. Not every noise deserves your energy. Not every noise deserves your reply. And scenario 4, the emotional trigger. Someone disrespects you. Someone annoys you. Someone pushes your buttons. The reactive mind wants to fight, wants to insult, wants to explode, wants to release. But the strongest person is not the loudest. The strongest person is the one who can stay calm when provoked, the one who can delay their reaction, the one who can choose silence over self-sabotage. You have a choice. Respond later. Respond when calm. Respond when strategic. Or don't respond at all. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is a decision. Silence is discipline. Silence is strength. That's the key. Most people have never lived a single day where they were fully in control of their reactions. They react before they think. They react before they evaluate. They react before they breathe. They live like a puppet pulled by invisible strings. The string of anger. The string of anxiety. The string of pressure. The string of guilt. The string of expectation. You don't need to live like that. You don't need to let every sound shape your mood. You don't need to let every voice direct your mind. You don't need to let every event hijack your focus. You have a choice, a powerful choice, a rare choice, the choice not to react. Think about how the average person behaves. Someone sends them a text. They respond instantly. Someone posts something online. They argue instantly. Someone pressures them. They fold instantly. Someone triggers them. They explode instantly. Their emotions are like an open door, and anyone can walk in. Let's go deeper. To understand this, understand
that not every noise deserves your inner emotional response. The inner emotional response. That's the key. Let me give you real behavioral instructions. Wait 10 minutes before responding to emotional messages. Let calls go to voicemail unless it's mission critical. Disable the notifications that don't feed your goals. Speak only after you've thought. Respond only when it matters. Do not explain yourself to people who aren't trying to understand you. Do not defend yourself to people committed to their own narrative. This is not about arrogance. This is about discipline. This is not about being cold. This is about being controlled. This is not about shutting people out. This is about shutting noise out. You don't need their permission to protect your peace. You don't need their approval to pause. You don't need their validation to stay silent. Not every noise deserves your energy. Not every noise deserves your reply. And the moment you master this principle, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes quieter. Your emotions become calmer. Your decisions become smarter. Your days become clearer. You become unshakable. This is what neutralizing the noise is all about. And now that you understand the power of not reacting, you're ready for the next step. Because once you stop reacting instantly, you must learn to think strategically before you move.
You want to change your life. You want to move with clarity, confidence, and precision. But here's the truth you've ignored for far too long. Your body is moving faster than your mind, and that's why you keep making the same mistakes again and again. You rush, you react, you respond out of impulse, not intention, and then you wonder why your decisions don't match your goals. Today's lesson is simple, but it will demand more discipline from you than almost anything else in this audiobook. Slow your mind before you move your body. Let that line settle, because this is the turning point for people who are serious about transformation. The world is fast. You must be still. Everyone around you is speeding up, talking fast, reacting fast, judging fast, scrolling fast. They confuse motion with progress. They think acceleration is strength. But speed without clarity is chaos. And you know this. You've lived this. You've acted too quickly and paid the price. You've spoken too soon and regretted it. You've jumped into situations without stopping to think. And here's the uncomfortable truth. You weren't unlucky. You were undisciplined. You didn't slow your mind. You didn't create space. You didn't step back to see the angle that mattered. This isn't about intelligence. This isn't about talent. This is about discipline. Mental stillness is not relaxation. Mental stillness is not being calm. Mental stillness is control. The highest form of control. The form of control that allows you to choose your actions instead of being dragged by your impulses. That's the key. You have a choice, and the moment you forget that, you lose your power. Athletes know this truth better than anyone. Think about elite athletes for a moment, the ones who thrive under pressure, the ones who make it look easy when everything is on the line. Do you know what separates them from amateurs? It's not strength. It's not speed. It's not talent. It's the pause, that tiny space between stimulus and response. A boxer doesn't panic when a punch comes toward his face. He pauses, reads, reacts. A quarterback doesn't crumble under a collapsing pocket. He pauses, scans, throws. A basketball player doesn't rush a game-winning shot. He pauses, sets, fires. And what about amateurs? They do the exact opposite. They panic. They rush. They let their bodies move before their minds are ready. They let fear and adrenaline take over. Slow mind, strong action. Fast mind, weak action. Repeat it until it becomes the backbone of your behavior. Because you're not losing to your competition, you're losing to your own speed. Fast thinking is not clear thinking. You think you're being productive when you move quickly. You think you're being decisive when you respond instantly. But fast thinking is fragile. It collapses at the first sign of pressure. A fast mind reacts. A slow mind evaluates. A trained mind chooses. And here's the uncomfortable truth you must accept. Your thinking speed determines your decision quality. And your decision quality determines your life quality. You are living today in the results of yesterday's rushed decisions. You want better outcomes? Create better pauses. You want more clarity? Slow your thinking first. Move second. This is the discipline most people never learn because they mistake speed for strength. But you're not most people. You're here to master yourself. Slowing down is a skill, not a personality trait. You're not naturally impulsive. You're not wired to move fast. You're not just built this way. No. You've simply never trained the pause. And training the pause requires 3 things. Awareness. Noticing your instinct to react. Interruption. Forcing yourself to pause, even for one breath. Redirection. Choosing the action that aligns with discipline, not emotion. You have a choice, and every time you choose the pause, you build mental power. You interrupt the old self, you train the new self. You step into a version of you that operates with intentionality instead of urgency. This is how leaders think. This is how champions think. This is how people who build extraordinary lives think. Slow mind, strong action. Fast mind, weak action. Etch that line into your identity. You don't need their permission to slow down. People will tell you, hurry up. People will tell you, decide now. They will push you to match their speed, their chaos, their urgency. Ignore them. You don't need their permission to think twice. You don't need their permission to take one breath. You don't need their permission to operate on your timeline. Your decisions affect your life. Your pace affects your strength. Your mind affects your future. They don't get a vote. You are not here to impress people who rush. You are here to build a mind that doesn't crumble under pressure. Stillness is power. Slowness is control. The pause is your greatest weapon. Real-world application: how to slow your mind today. Start with simple, repeatable actions. 1. Before you respond to anyone, pause for 3 seconds. Train your nervous system to wait. That's the key. 2. Before you make a decision, take one slow breath. This interrupts your emotional impulse. 3. Before you move forward, ask one question. Is this reaction or intention? If it's reaction, stop. If it's intention, proceed. This single habit changes everything. Your relationships, your career, your self-control, your confidence, everything. Slow your mind before you move your body. That's the discipline. That's the transformation. A final word before we move on. You've spent most of your life sprinting into situations with a fast mind and a weak plan. No more. From this day forward, you move differently. You think first, you breathe first, you decide first. Then, and only then, do you act. This chapter gives you something most people will never possess: command over yourself. And now that you've learned to control your mental pace, it's time to learn how to control something even more valuable: your environment. Because you can't master your life until you master what surrounds you. There is a moment, small, invisible, easily dismissed, that decides the entire direction of your life. A moment so simple most people never notice it. A moment so powerful the strongest leaders treat it like a weapon. It's the pause. One deliberate pause, one breath, one beat of silence before you respond, react, or explode. That tiny space is where discipline lives. That tiny space is where power begins. That tiny space is what determines whether you rise above the moment or fall victim to it. The pause protects you. The pause strengthens you. Most people don't pause. They react. They spill their emotions. They say whatever their insecurity tells them to say. They move before they think. They fire before they aim. And then they spend days, months, even years repairing the damage done in 3 reckless seconds. But you're not here to live like most people. You're here to master yourself. And it starts with mastering the pause. The power of a deliberate pause. When something emotional hits you, an insult, a disagreement, a challenge, your nervous system lights up. Your body wants to act fast. Your ego wants to defend itself. Your fear wants to escape. Your impatience wants to erupt. But you have a choice. You can obey the impulse, or you can interrupt it. That interruption is the pause. The pause breaks old patterns. The pause destroys emotional autopilot. The pause gives you time to choose your strongest response, not your weakest reaction. That's the key. You're not born calm or chaotic. You're not born patient or impatient. You're not born disciplined or undisciplined. You're trained by your pauses or trapped by your impulses. And every pause you take builds a stronger, sharper version of you. Every pause you skip feeds the weaker, reactive version of you. It's not about personality. It's about discipline. How leaders use the pause as a weapon. Look at any powerful leader, CEOs, commanders, founders, diplomats. They are not the fastest talkers in the room. They are not the most reactive. They don't rush to fill silence. They do the opposite. They pause. They let others reveal themselves. They control the rhythm of the conversation. They refuse to be emotionally pulled or manipulated. Because leaders understand one thing: silence shifts power. When you pause, you take control of the frame. When you pause, you unsettle the emotional energy in front of you. When you pause, you force others to adjust to your pace, not theirs. You don't need their permission to slow the moment down. You don't need their approval to breathe before you reply. You don't need their validation to think before you speak. Leaders pause because leaders choose their response. Followers react because followers surrender their control. You have a choice. Choose the pause. How negotiators use silence to win. Professional negotiators do something that beginners hate. They let silence do the work. When the offer is made, they pause. When someone throws out a number, they pause. When someone tries to pressure them, they pause. That silence creates tension. That tension reveals truth. That truth creates leverage. Because here's the secret: people panic in silence. They fill it with information. They fill it with weakness. They fill it with emotional tells. But you're learning to stay still. You're learning to keep the advantage. You're learning to let the pause make the other person show their hand. That's discipline. That's skill. That's control. The pause protects you. The pause strengthens you. How elite performers use the pause to execute under pressure. Whether it's athletes, surgeons, pilots, or world-class performers, the great ones don't move instantly. Before a shot,
they pause. Before a cut, they pause. Before a crucial decision, they pause. That pause organizes their thinking. That pause resets their focus. That pause eliminates emotional noise. It's not about speed. It's about precision. It's about mastery. Amateurs rush because they're afraid of losing control. Masters pause because that's how they gain control. Slow beats frantic. Still beats scattered. Disciplined beats emotional. You have a choice, and every time you pause, you choose strength over impulse. Real-world behavioral instructions for mastering the pause. Here's how you build this skill starting today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Number 1, the 3-second rule. Before responding to anything emotional, text, comment, argument, request, pause for 3 slow seconds. Let your mind catch up with your mouth. Number 2, 1 breath before you act. Breathe in, slow. Let that oxygen interrupt your impulse. Your brain cannot stay emotional and strategic at the same time. The breath flips the switch. Number 3, label the moment. Ask yourself, is this reaction or intention? If it's reaction, pause again. If it's intention, proceed with clarity. Number 4, train your face to stay neutral. Silence means nothing if your face leaks emotion. Leaders keep their expressions still. This stops others from manipulating your reactions. Number 5, delay your final answer. When pressured, don't commit instantly. Say, let me think about that. You don't need their permission to go slow. You don't need their approval to protect your clarity. The pause protects you. The pause strengthens you. Make it your weapon. Make it your default. Make it your identity. Why most people will never master the pause? Because they fear silence. Because they fear looking too slow. Because they think reacting fast looks powerful. But it doesn't. It exposes insecurity. It exposes lack of control. It exposes emotional dependency. The pause isn't for the weak. The pause is what separates self-control from self-destruction. You want respect? Pause. You want clarity? Pause. You want power? Pause. Reactive people burn their own opportunities. Disciplined people protect their future. That's the key. The final shift you must make. From today onward, you stop letting emotions dictate your speed. You stop letting people drag you into their chaos. You stop acting before you think. You pause first. Always. In every environment, in every conversation, in every emotional storm. You have a choice. Choose the pause. Because the pause is where your strength gathers. The pause is where your clarity forms. The pause is where your power becomes visible. And now that you've learned how to command the moment, it's time to learn how to command yourself.
There is a silent thief that steals more energy than physical labor, more time than your biggest responsibilities, more clarity than your deepest worries. It's low-level conversation, small talk, gossip, petty arguments, negative chatter, useless debates, the noise that pulls people down while convincing them they're staying connected. Most people don't even notice the drain. They think talking is harmless. They think reacting is normal. They think responding to every comment, every message, every rumor keeps them in the loop. But it doesn't. It keeps them in the mud. And you're not here to live in the mud. You're here to rise. You're here to protect your mental power. You're here to break the habit of shrinking into low-frequency noise. Because you rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Say it again. You rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Low-level conversations are like mental gravity. Low-level conversations have one job: to pull you down. They distract you from your goals. They drain your emotional energy. They break your focus. Think about it. You can go a whole day doing physical labor and still feel purposeful. But 1 hour around gossip? 1 hour listening to people argue about nothing? 1 hour in a group chat where everyone complains? You walk away exhausted, mentally tired, foggy, irritated, unfocused. That's the key. It's not about physical effort. It's about mental contamination. You're not running out of ambition. You're running out of bandwidth. And low-level noise is what drains it first. You have a choice. Stay available to noise or stay committed to growth. Why small talk and gossip destroy your momentum? Small talk sounds harmless, but it steals your attention. It steals your time. It steals your fire. Gossip sounds entertaining, but it poisons your mind. It trains you to focus on people instead of progress. It turns your energy outward instead of inward. Every time you engage in gossip, you trade self-mastery for cheap entertainment. Every time you engage in meaningless chatter, you trade clarity for clutter. Every time you respond to negativity, you trade discipline for distraction. It's not about being rude. It's about being intentional. You don't need their permission to protect your mind. You don't need their approval to stay focused. You don't need their validation to walk away from noise. You rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Real-world examples where you're losing your energy. Let's be brutally honest. Most people don't lose their focus because of big events. They lose it through tiny, constant leaks. In the office, people sit together, complaining about the boss, talking about coworkers, arguing about decisions that don't affect their future. Hours wasted, energy drained, zero progress made. In the family, arguments about who said what, drama over small misunderstandings, discussions that go in circles. You leave emotionally tired over issues that change nothing. In the group chat, useless memes, pointless debates, personal attacks masked as jokes, a constant stream of noise demanding your attention. Every environment has noise, but not every mind needs to absorb it. You have a choice. You can give your energy away, or you can guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. How low-level noise sabotages your growth. Noise eats the part of you that needs silence to grow. Noise interrupts your ability to think deeply. Noise trains your brain to seek stimulation instead of solutions. When you give your attention to drama, you lose the ability to recognize opportunity. When you focus on petty conversations, you weaken your mental discipline. When you react to negativity, you train your mind to operate on emotional impulse. That's the key. Your mind becomes what you feed it, and when you feed it noise, it becomes noisy. You want clarity? Cut noise. You want strength? Cut noise. You want progress? Cut noise. Because you rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Practical behavioral training. Let's turn this from theory to transformation. 1. The exit strategy. When the conversation drops into gossip or negativity, you don't argue. You don't lecture. You don't defend your silence. You simply exit. A calm, quiet withdrawal. You don't need their permission to protect your peace. 2. The one-sentence filter. Ask yourself, does this conversation raise me or drain me? If it drains you, end it. If it distracts you, redirect it. If it poisons you, walk away. 3. The 48-hour social detox. 2 days. No group chats, no pointless debates, no gossip. Watch how your mind clears. Watch how your focus sharpens. Watch how your energy returns. 4. The no-reaction rule. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every comment deserves your energy. Not every tone deserves your attention. You have a choice. Respond or rise. React or protect. Shrink or grow. 5. The upgrade strategy. Replace low-level conversation with high-level consumption. Audiobooks, books, podcasts, learning, silence, reflection. Anything that builds you instead of draining you. It's not about being antisocial. It's about being intentional. It's about training your mind to rise, not sink. Why most people can't escape noise? Because noise gives them identity. Drama gives them purpose. Gossip gives them belonging. Small talk gives them distraction. But you're not most people. You're here because you want more. More clarity, more discipline, more elevation. And those things demand distance from noise. You rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Say it again. You rise the moment you stop shrinking into low-level noise. Your future doesn't require more effort. It requires less distraction. The shift you must make now. Starting today, you become unreachable to low-level noise. You train your mind to filter conversations. You remove yourself from negativity. You stay focused on what matters. You guard your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. You have a choice. You always have a choice, and this choice separates the disciplined from the distracted. Rise above the noise. Rise above the chatter. Rise above the emotional pull of other people's opinions. Because the moment you detach, the moment you protect your mind, the moment you elevate your standards, your entire internal world shifts. You mastered ignoring low-level conversations. Now it's time to master the people who try to pull you back into them.
There is a silent advantage in this world that most people never understand. It's invisible. It's underrated. It's overlooked. And yet, it is the single trait that separates winners from followers. Emotional stability, calmness under pressure, the ability to remain unbothered when chaos surrounds you. Stay unbothered, stay untouchable. Say it again. Stay unbothered, stay untouchable. Why emotional stability matters. Most people think success is about speed, intelligence, talent, or luck. It is not. Success favors the calm. It favors the composed. It favors the person who refuses to be dragged by other people's noise. Think about it. What happens when someone loses control? A client complains, they panic. A colleague criticizes, they explode. An opportunity is delayed, they stress. And then, everything falls apart. Decisions become poor, relationships strain, opportunities slip away. You have a choice. You don't have to be like them. You don't have to let the chaos of others dictate your emotional state. That's the key. Examples from the business world. Look at the CEOs of major companies, the ones who thrive, the ones who last. When markets crash, they don't scream. When employees mess up, they don't panic. When competitors attack, they don't overreact. They pause, they analyze, they decide, and they move with precision, not impulse. Contrast that with reactive leaders. Every minor complaint becomes a crisis. Every challenge becomes an attack. Every obstacle triggers a meltdown. Which leader would you follow? Which leader inspires loyalty? Which leader attracts opportunity? The calm leader does. The unbothered leader wins. The advantage in relationships. It's not just business. Relationships, romantic, familial, or social, also reward the unbothered. Imagine two friends. Friend A panics whenever someone disagrees. Friend B listens, stays calm,
and responds intentionally. Who will people trust? Who will people respect? Who will people gravitate toward in times of stress? Stay unbothered. Stay untouchable. It's not about being cold. It's not about being indifferent. It's about controlling your energy so that you can move with clarity, authority, and influence. The reactive mind versus the unbothered mind. Reactive people live in constant turbulence. They take every word personally. They feel attacked by every opinion. They let others dictate their moods. Unbothered people create their own atmosphere. They control their reactions. They filter out nonsense. They decide what matters and what doesn't. Here's the secret. The world cannot manipulate you when you remain unbothered. It will try. It will try. But you have a choice, and you can refuse. You rise above. You stay focused. You stay powerful. Real-world behavioral instructions. How do you build this unbothered state? How do you stop giving emotional energy to people or events that don't deserve it? 1. Label it before reacting. Before you respond to anything emotional, ask, is this important to my goals? Or is it just noise? If it's noise, ignore it. If it's important, respond deliberately. 2. Silence is strength. Not every conflict requires a reply. Not every comment requires attention. Not every drama deserves engagement. The pause protects you. The pause strengthens you. 3. Practice emotional detachment. Detach your self-worth from other people's opinions. Detach your mood from external events. Detach your energy from chaos. You don't need their permission to remain composed. You don't need their validation to stay calm. 4. Focus on what you can control. You cannot control everything. You cannot control everyone. You can control yourself, and that's the only thing that matters. Stay unbothered, stay untouchable. The discipline of consistent composure. Being unbothered is not a one-time act. It is a discipline, a practice, a daily choice. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you train yourself. Every time you breathe instead of panicking, you build control. Every time you ignore noise, you strengthen focus. The world doesn't reward people who lose their temper. The world rewards the person who remains calm while chaos rages around them. The world rewards the unbothered. It's not about arrogance. It's not about detachment from reality. It's about discipline. It's about mastery. You rise the moment you refuse to be shaken. You gain influence the moment your composure becomes consistent. You attract opportunity the moment you refuse to react to every distraction. The mindset shift. Here's the mindset to adopt today. I cannot control the world. I can control my reaction. Repeat it until it becomes a reflex. Repeat it until the chaos of others bounces off your composure like water on steel. When someone tries to provoke you, do not react. When someone pressures you, do not react. When someone challenges you, do not react. Stay unbothered, stay untouchable. This is how leaders think. This is how champions act. This is how people who achieve lasting success behave. The final shift you must make. From today onward, you stop surrendering your emotional state to external events. You stop giving power to people who have none over your life. You stop reacting to noise that doesn't serve you. You choose your state. You decide your energy. You protect your focus. The world rewards this. The world rewards discipline. The world rewards composure. Stay unbothered. Stay untouchable. That's the power most people will never understand. That's the advantage most people will never develop. And that's why you're already ahead just by listening, learning, and applying this principle. Now that you know the value of being unbothered, it's time to take the next step, protecting your inner world from constant noise and external interference.
Here's a truth most people never fully grasp. Explaining yourself to the wrong people is wasted energy. Every time you feel the need to clarify, defend, or justify your choices to someone who doesn't care about your growth, you are surrendering power you can never reclaim. Stop it. Stop it now. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. Say it again. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. This chapter will teach you how to protect your energy, protect your decisions, and stop giving people permission to derail your progress. The cost of explaining yourself. Most people think explaining themselves is noble. They think it proves intelligence. They think it shows accountability. But here's the reality. Every explanation consumes your focus. Every justification drains your energy. Every debate reinforces the other person's control over your mind. Think about it. How many hours have you spent arguing with someone online? Defending your choices to relatives who never understand? Justifying your career, your habits, your lifestyle? All that time spent, energy spent, emotion spent, and what did it produce? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to stay silent. You don't need their approval to stop defending yourself. Why people don't listen? Some people simply cannot hear you. They are anchored in their own beliefs. They are trapped in their own fears. They are unwilling to grow. No matter how articulate you are, no matter how much evidence you provide, no matter how passionately you argue, they won't listen. They are not open to transformation. They are not willing to rise. And here's the key. It's not about them. It's about your discipline. You rise by conserving energy. You rise by protecting your focus. You rise by refusing to argue with a wall. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. Online arguments, the perfect example. Let's face it, social media is the modern trap for over-explainers. You post something insightful, someone misinterprets it. You clarify, they attack again. You respond, they escalate. Hours wasted, energy drained, emotions destabilized. Do you see the pattern? You're reacting to people who don't care about your growth. You're giving them control over your state. Stop. Pause. Detach. You don't need their permission to stop. You don't need their approval to prioritize your energy. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. Family and relatives, the unrecognized drain. It's not just strangers online. It's your relatives, friends, and colleagues who question every choice you make. You change your career path. They ask why. You try to justify. They continue doubting. Every explanation reinforces their mental hold over you. Every defensive statement keeps you anchored to their judgment. You have a choice. You can engage, or you can protect yourself. Protecting yourself doesn't make you rude. It makes you disciplined. It makes you strategic. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. The freedom of silence. When you stop explaining, something incredible happens. Energy returns. You stop giving away mental currency to people who don't value it. Clarity emerges. You realize that your life belongs to you, not the critics or skeptics. Peace strengthens. You no longer live in a constant loop of defense and justification. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is power. And every time you choose it, you reclaim authority over your own mind. Real-world instructions to apply this principle. 1. Recognize the noise. Every time someone challenges you unnecessarily, ask yourself, is this conversation worth my time? Or am I just giving away energy? If it's not worth it, stop. 2. Pause before responding. When you feel the urge to explain, take a deep breath. This one pause interrupts reactive patterns. It reminds you that you have control. 3. Use the phrase, "not necessary." If someone presses, simply respond, "That's not necessary." Short, firm, unshakable. No justification, no emotion. 4. Set boundaries. Tell people respectfully but firmly, "I'm focused on my growth. I won't debate choices that don't affect my discipline." You don't need their approval. You don't need their agreement. 5. Reframe your mindset. Understand this. People who need you to justify yourself are stuck. They are anchored in their own judgment. You rise above when you refuse to play their game. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. Say it again. Let it echo in your mind until it becomes instinct. The discipline of protecting your energy. This is not about arrogance. It's not about avoiding responsibility. It's about choosing where your energy goes. Every explanation you give to someone who won't listen is a withdrawal from your focus account. Every unnecessary argument weakens your clarity. Every defensive reaction strengthens their control. You have a choice. And choosing not to explain is one of the most powerful choices you can make. Stop justifying. Stop defending. Stop proving. Stay silent. Stay focused. Stay disciplined. The final shift. From today onward, you stop giving unnecessary explanations. You stop defending decisions that don't need defending. You stop reacting to people who cannot hear or appreciate your growth. You have a choice. Use it. Your energy is valuable. Your time is scarce. Your focus is your currency. If they don't understand by now, they won't understand later. Let that truth guide every conversation, every interaction, every response. You mastered ignoring low-level conversations. You learned the power of being unbothered. Now, it's time to protect your inner space from everyone who would drain you.
There is a misconception in the world. People think silence is weakness. People think quiet people are timid. People think those who speak less are inferior. They are wrong. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. Silence is a weapon. Say it again. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. This chapter will teach you how to use silence to create power, control, and clarity in every area of your life. Why silence builds power. Most people rush to fill every void with words. They fear the pause. They fear stillness. They fear being underestimated. But here's the truth. Silence commands attention. Silence creates presence. Silence shifts energy in your favor. When you speak less, every word you do say carries weight. When you react less, every action you take becomes deliberate. When you pause, you force the world to adjust to your rhythm, not theirs. You have a choice. You can speak impulsively, losing influence, or you can remain silent, gaining authority. That's the key. Examples from warriors and monks. In battle, warriors are trained to speak less. They observe. They listen. They react strategically. Noise gives the enemy clues. Words waste energy. Emotions cloud judgment. The warrior knows silence protects power. Monks practice silence daily. They meditate. They detach. They train their minds to operate without constant chatter. This silence is not emptiness. It is clarity. It is focus. It is discipline. You don't need approval to remain quiet. You don't need permission to let silence work for you. Professionals who speak less and do more. Think of CEOs, negotiators, or elite performers. They speak only when necessary. They listen more than they talk. They wait until their words have purpose. Every meeting, every negotiation, every decision. The world mistakes their quiet for passivity. The world underestimates them. But that is exactly the advantage they seek. By speaking less, they control more. By pausing, they observe more. By staying silent, they act decisively. It's not about being shy. It's about discipline. It's about strategy. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. Silence as a tool for control. When you refuse to react immediately, silence becomes your shield. When you stop explaining yourself, silence becomes your power. When you hold back comments, silence creates space for observation. Think of it this way. Silence slows down chaos. Silence amplifies authority. Silence protects focus. You have a choice. You can fill the air with words that drain you, or you can let silence give you leverage. Every pause, every breath, every moment you refrain from reaction is a deposit in your control account. Every unnecessary explanation, every reactive outburst is a withdrawal from your influence. How to train your silence. 1. The deliberate pause. Before responding to any emotional stimulus, take a moment. Even 2 seconds of quiet can reset your brain and elevate your response. 2. Speak with purpose. Only speak when your words matter, when they add value, when they move the outcome in your favor. 3. Observe before acting. Use silence to gather information. Notice patterns. Listen for hidden intentions. Most people act first and think later. You do the opposite. 4. Control your energy. Silence keeps your energy intact. Words expend energy. Thoughtless reactions drain mental bandwidth. 5. Internalize discipline. Remind yourself daily, silence is strategic. Every time you feel the urge to fill empty space, pause. Every time you feel the need to justify, pause. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. The power of intentional quiet. Silence allows reflection. Silence allows observation. Silence allows control. Reactive people fill space with chatter. Disciplined people fill space with presence. It's not about fear of speaking. It's about mastery over when and why you speak. When someone tries to provoke you, pause.
When someone demands an explanation, pause. When someone challenges your decisions, pause. You have a choice. You can react or you can control. And that control comes from silence. The shift you must make. From today onward, stop thinking silence is weakness. Stop rushing to respond to every opinion. Stop giving explanations to people who don't listen. Instead, observe first. Act strategically. Speak intentionally. Every time you practice this, you elevate your mental power. Every time you resist reaction, you increase your influence. Every time you use silence, you reinforce your discipline. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. Conclusion and transition. The untrained mind fears quiet. The disciplined mind leverages it. You rise when you speak less and act more. You gain clarity when you stop reacting. You increase influence when you let silence shape the environment. You have a choice. Use silence as your weapon. Use silence as your shield. Use silence to dominate your inner and outer world. Silence is not empty. Silence is strategic. Now that you've learned to use silence to create power and control, it's time to focus on the walls you build around your mind to protect this newfound discipline.
There is a battlefield that exists in every person's life. It is silent. It is unseen. It is not fought with weapons. It is fought in the mind. It is fought in the energy you allow in. It is fought in the thoughts you entertain. Most people lose because their minds are open to every noise, every opinion, every attack. They let every comment, every judgment, every criticism enter unchallenged. They are defenseless. You will not be that person. You will build a fortress so strong that no negativity, no chaos, no manipulator can enter. They can speak, they can shout, they can scream. Your fortress stands. Say it again. Your fortress stands. The principle of mental boundaries. Your mind is sacred. Your attention is currency. Your energy is limited. What you allow in determines your growth. What you reject determines your discipline. What you filter determines your peace. Most people have mental gates wide open. Every comment becomes a debate. Every opinion becomes a storm. Every insult becomes a wound. Not you. You have a choice. You decide who enters. You decide what energy touches your mind. You decide what opinions are heard and which ones are discarded. That's the key. Examples from elite performers. Athletes rehearse movements until they become instinct. Warriors rehearse strategies until the battlefield obeys their rhythm. Monks rehearse silence and control until the world cannot disturb them. You must do the same for your mind. Rehearse boundaries until chaos cannot touch you. Rehearse discipline until attacks bounce off your inner walls. Rehearse focus until distractions cannot enter. The mind that is trained becomes unshakable. The mind that is disciplined becomes untouchable. The mind that is fortified becomes unstoppable. You have a choice. You can leave your gates open, or you can build walls that protect your peace. What goes in and what stays out. Your fortress is not about isolation. It is about filtration. Thoughts. Only ideas that serve your goals enter. Useless doubts are stopped at the gate. Energy. Only energy that elevates is allowed. Negative emotions from others bounce off. Opinions. Only constructive feedback is entertained. Criticism from those who don't understand is blocked. Every time someone tries to provoke you, your fortress absorbs nothing. Every time someone tries to distract you, your walls remain firm. Every time chaos rages around you, your center is untouched. They can speak, they can shout, they can scream. Your fortress stands. The practice of inner control. Building a mental fortress is not theoretical. It is practice. Daily, deliberate practice. 1. Mental rehearsal. Visualize your fortress every morning. See walls rising. See gates locking out noise. See your calm center unshaken by storms. 2. Boundary identification. Identify the types of thoughts, energies, and opinions that are toxic. Decide in advance, these will not enter. Decide in advance, these will be observed but not internalized. 3. Emotional filtering. When someone attacks you emotionally, practice pausing. Let the words fall like rain against stone. Nothing penetrates. Nothing affects your state. Strategic exposure. You are not blind. You observe. You assess. You selectively allow input that builds you. Everything else is blocked. Daily reflection. At night, review your mental fortress. Did anything penetrate? Did you react unnecessarily? Every day, reinforce the walls. Every day, rehearse discipline. Every day, strengthen control. Real-world application. Imagine the office. Someone criticizes your work unfairly. Most people react emotionally. They argue, they try to prove themselves. They lose focus. Not you. Your fortress blocks the noise. You respond only when necessary. You maintain composure. You focus on action, not distraction. Imagine social media. People shout opinions, judgments, insults. Most get pulled into drama. Not you. Your fortress filters. Your calm persists. Your focus sharpens. Imagine your personal life. Friends, family, colleagues, everyone has expectations. Everyone has energy to drain. Your inner fortress protects your space. You choose what matters. You refuse what does not. The power of consistent boundaries. Your fortress is not built overnight. It grows through consistent practice. It strengthens with repetition. It becomes instinctive with discipline. Every time you refuse unnecessary reactions, your walls become thicker. Every time you filter noise, your gates become stronger. Every time you control your focus, your center becomes untouchable. It's not about arrogance. It's not about isolation. It's about survival and growth. It's about discipline. They can speak, they can shout, they can scream. Your fortress stands. The shift you must make now. From today onward, identify your mental gates. Decide what enters and what is blocked. Rehearse control like an athlete rehearses a movement. Protect your energy at all costs. You have a choice. You can surrender to noise and chaos, or you can rise above it, untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. Your fortress is your power. Your discipline is your weapon. Your focus is your shield. They can speak, they can shout, they can scream. Your fortress stands.
Comparison is a silent killer. It creeps into your mind without permission. It steals confidence. It steals focus. It steals energy. Most people think comparison is harmless. They scroll social media. They peek at someone else's progress. They listen to others' opinions. And then, without realizing it, their life slows down. Their mind fills with doubt. Their heart loses courage. Comparison is noise. Kill the noise. Say it again. Comparison is noise. Kill the noise. This chapter is about teaching you how to shut down that internal chatter, how to stop letting other people's success dictate your value, how to reclaim your attention, your energy, and your confidence. Why comparison destroys focus. Comparison is a thief of focus. You see someone making more money than you, panic sets in. You see someone achieving faster than you, doubt creeps in. You see someone praised publicly, anxiety rises. Every time you compare, your energy moves outward. You shift your attention from your work to theirs. You give power to things outside your control. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to stop looking over your shoulder. You don't need approval to focus on your path. That's the key. Focus is lost the moment you let comparison dictate your emotions. Confidence erodes every time you measure your journey against someone else's. Real-world examples. Look at two entrepreneurs. Entrepreneur A scrolls constantly, measuring success against peers. They feel insecure, reactive, and distracted. Entrepreneur B focuses on growth, ignoring the social media highlight reels of others. They take deliberate action. They build skills. They track only their progress. Who moves faster? Who accumulates results? Who feels satisfaction at the end of the day? Entrepreneur B does. Comparison in daily life. Comparison isn't limited to money or success. It shows up everywhere. Fitness. They are in better shape than me. Career. They got the promotion first. Relationships. They seem happier. This noise is constant. It is loud. It is distracting. But you have a choice. You don't need permission to shut it out. You don't need validation to ignore it. Comparison is noise. Kill the noise. The discipline of self-measurement. The antidote to comparison is self-measurement. Track your progress against yourself, not others. Celebrate small wins. Document growth daily. When you measure yourself against your past, not someone else's present, fear and doubt vanish. It's not about arrogance. It's not about selfishness. It's about discipline. It's about control. It's about reclaiming focus. You rise the moment you stop shrinking into someone else's timeline. You gain confidence when you acknowledge your pace. You find peace when you ignore what others are doing. Practical strategies to kill comparison. 1. Limit exposure to triggers. Social media feeds, toxic conversations, or competitive environments are triggers. Reduce scrolling, skip gossip, avoid toxic comparisons. 2. Document your wins. Keep a journal or tracker. Record completed tasks, milestones, and personal growth. Your scoreboard is your own. 3. Reframe the mindset. When envy or doubt arises, repeat, "This is their journey, not mine. I am focused on my path." Comparison has no power unless you give it energy. 4. Pause before reaction. Whenever you notice a comparison thought, stop. Breathe. Redirect attention to your goals. 5. Celebrate others without losing yourself. You can admire achievements without letting them diminish your confidence.
Admiration doesn't require competition. Respect doesn't require comparison. The cost of ignoring this lesson. If you do not kill the noise of comparison, you will chase validation outside yourself. You will measure your worth by external metrics. You will constantly feel inadequate. Most people live this way. Their energy leaks. Their focus fractures. Their dreams stall. You are not most people. You have a choice. You can destroy this internal enemy. You can reclaim your time, your energy, and your results. Comparison is noise. Kill the noise. The shift you must make. From today onward, stop measuring your path against anyone else's. Stop letting their results trigger doubt. Stop letting their noise steal your focus. Your pace is your pace. Your journey is your journey. Your success is measured by your discipline, not someone else's timeline. You don't need permission to walk your path. You don't need approval to honor your progress. You have a choice. Comparison is noise. Kill the noise. Repeat it until it becomes instinct.
The world acts like you owe everyone instant access. Texts must be answered immediately. Calls must be picked up instantly. Demands must be met on their timetable. Stop believing that lie. You don't owe anyone your time. You don't owe anyone your energy. You don't owe anyone immediate access to your life. Delayed access is not disrespect, it's discipline. Say it again. Delayed access is not disrespect, it's discipline. This chapter is about building boundaries around your time, your attention, and your emotional labor. It's about reclaiming control over when and how you respond. It's about becoming untouchable, unreactive, and unstoppable. The principle of controlled access. Most people live like doorways are open 24/7. Requests flood in. Interruptions pile up. Energy leaks. Leaders, elite performers, and disciplined individuals operate differently. They decide who gets access. They control the timing of their responses. They protect the flow of their day, their work, and their focus. You have a choice. You can respond on their schedule, reacting to noise, or you can respond on your schedule, disciplined and deliberate. That's the key. Control over access is not arrogance. Control over access is not selfishness. It is a core principle of mental toughness. Real-world examples of lost control. Consider Sarah, a talented manager. Her phone never stops buzzing. Last-minute emails, constant text chains, and unplanned calls dominate her day. She's reactive. She's exhausted. She's frustrated. Compare with James, a senior executive. He sets clear rules. Emails are answered at set times. Calls are scheduled. Interruptions are minimized. He controls access to his attention. Which person achieves more? Which person feels calmer? Which person commands respect? The answer is obvious. You don't need permission to manage your time. You don't need validation to protect your energy. You have a choice. Why delayed access is discipline. Immediate reactions give power to others. They dictate your emotional state. They drain your focus. They steal momentum. Delayed access does the opposite. It reinforces control. It builds respect. It strengthens mental boundaries. Delayed access is not disrespect. It's discipline. Every time you pause before replying, you decide whether this deserves your energy. You maintain control over your schedule. You strengthen your fortress of focus. It's not about ignoring people. It's about protecting what matters most: your peace, your energy, your results. How to set healthy access boundaries. Time blocks. Decide when you respond to messages, calls, and emails. Let people know your schedule. Consistency trains others to respect your boundaries. Prioritization. Not all requests are equal. Urgent, handle immediately. Important but non-urgent, schedule it. Low-value noise, ignore or defer. The pause before reply. When someone demands attention, pause, breathe, assess, decide if immediate response is necessary. Emotional labor filtering. Some people seek to unload emotions at your expense. Listen selectively. Offer support without surrendering your peace. Discipline does not mean cruelty. It means intentionality. Communicate your rules. Boundaries work best when they are clear. State availability up front. Set expectations around response times. Consistency builds respect. The cost of obeying every demand. If you say yes to everything, your energy is fractured. Your work quality declines. Your focus disappears. Your mental health suffers. Most people live in this chaos. They are reactive, exhausted, and underappreciated. You are not most people. You are disciplined. You are intentional. You have a choice. Shifting your mindset. From today onward, stop treating requests as emergencies unless they truly are. Stop giving instant access to people who do not respect your time. Stop letting external demands dictate your emotional state. Delayed access is not disrespect. Delayed access is a declaration of control. Delayed access is discipline. You rise the moment you stop reacting to everyone else's schedule. You gain freedom when you respond on your terms. You sharpen your focus when you protect your attention. Delayed access is not disrespect, it's discipline. Practical applications. Phone. Set response windows. Do not answer texts immediately. Email. Use batch processing. Only respond during designated hours. Meetings. Only schedule what is necessary. Cancel or defer the rest. Personal requests. Give thoughtful responses, not reactive ones. Every boundary you set strengthens your inner control. Every delay you enforce protects your mental energy. Every decision to act on your terms reinforces your discipline. Conclusion and transition. You've learned that you don't owe everyone immediate access. You've learned that delay is discipline, not disrespect. You've learned how to create time boundaries, filter emotional labor, and regain control of your focus. Next, we consolidate all this power and silence into mastery over your environment. You've protected your mind, built your fortress, and defended your attention. Now it's time to amplify your influence and focus your energy where it counts.
Emotions are powerful. They can guide you. They can motivate you. They can also destroy you. Most people let emotions dictate their every move. They react impulsively. They argue unnecessarily. They make decisions clouded by anger, envy, or fear. You will not be that person. You will harness emotional neutrality. You will feel it, but you will not feed it. Feel it. Don't feed it. Say it again. Feel it. Don't feed it. This chapter is about mastering the superpower of emotional neutrality. It's not about suppressing emotions. It's about controlling them. It's about clarity, power, and unstoppable focus. What emotional neutrality really means. Neutrality is not suppression. It is not avoidance. It is not indifference. Neutrality is awareness plus control. It is acknowledging the emotion, then choosing how to respond. It is feeling without letting the feeling control you. When criticism hits, neutrality lets you listen objectively. Neutrality prevents impulsive retaliation.
Neutrality allows strategic response. When conflict arises, neutrality allows calm observation. Neutrality allows assessment of facts, not drama. Neutrality ensures your response builds rather than destroys. You have a choice. You can feed the emotional reaction, letting it hijack your mind, or you can remain neutral, allowing clarity and power. That's the key. Real-world examples. Consider a high-performing CEO. A subordinate criticizes a decision publicly. Most leaders react defensively. They shout. They argue. They lose authority. A neutral leader pauses. They process the feedback. They respond strategically. Their emotional state remains intact. Their power is not diminished, it is amplified. Or consider a top athlete. An opponent taunts them during a match. Most athletes react with anger or frustration, losing focus. The elite athlete maintains neutrality. They observe, they adapt, they strike at the right moment. Victory is won not by reaction, but by composed action. Feel it. Don't feed it. Why emotional neutrality matters. Emotional neutrality is clarity in disguise. It allows you to see situations without distortion. It allows decisions to be guided by strategy, not impulsivity. Clarity, decisions are based on facts, not feelings. Focus, energy is applied where it matters, not wasted on drama. Influence, neutrality inspires respect. People follow composed leaders. The alternative? Chaos, regret, loss of control. Most people live in emotional storms. They react. They feed the fire. They lose power. You will not. You have a choice. You don't need anyone's permission to remain composed. You don't need validation to control your reactions. Practical strategies for neutrality. 1. Name the emotion. Recognize the feeling. I feel anger. I feel frustration. Labeling gives separation between you and the reaction. 2. Pause before action. Do not react immediately. Breathe, assess, respond strategically, not impulsively. 3. Observe without judgment. Neutrality requires observation. Facts, not interpretations. Intentions, not assumptions. 4. Reframe thoughts. Turn emotional triggers into insights. This is information, not a personal attack. This is data, not a crisis. 5. Release what you cannot control. You cannot control others' opinions or actions. You can control your response. Your neutrality protects your energy. 6. Daily practice. Start with small triggers, minor annoyances, interruptions, casual criticism. Gradually move to bigger challenges, conflict, failure, betrayal. The more you practice, the more instinctive neutrality becomes. Common mistakes to avoid. Suppression. Bottling emotions creates pressure, leading to eventual explosion. Indifference. Emotional neutrality is not apathy, it is deliberate control. Justification. Thinking, I'm allowed to react, gives power to noise. Neutrality is strength. Neutrality is focus. Neutrality is mastery. The transformational power. Emotional neutrality transforms your life. Relationships improve. You respond, not react. Work performance improves. Decisions are clear. Stress decreases. Emotional energy is preserved. Influence grows. Others respect composed authority. Every time you maintain neutrality, You conserve energy. You strengthen focus. You build mental resilience. Feel it, don't feed it. You rise the moment you refuse to let emotion dictate your actions. You gain clarity by choosing response over reaction. You create power through control, not chaos. Practical scenarios. Criticism at work. Pause. Assess truth. Respond objectively. Don't feed ego. Social media attack. Breathe. Ignore. Decide if response serves your goals. Conflict with loved ones. Listen without immediately reacting. Address issues calmly and constructively. Each instance reinforces your mental fortress. Each decision strengthens your discipline. Each pause amplifies your focus. Shift you must make now. From today onward, observe every emotional surge. Choose whether to feed it or remain neutral. Pause, reflect, respond strategically. Protect your clarity above all else. Emotional neutrality is not weakness. Emotional neutrality is a superpower. It is your shield in a chaotic world. It is your compass in confusion. It is your weapon in conflict.
Most people live trapped in the need to be liked. They crave approval from bosses, peers, family, even strangers. They bend, adjust, and compromise their values to avoid conflict. They say yes when they should say no. They prioritize politeness over purpose. They sacrifice their goals to maintain comfort in others' eyes. It's exhausting. It's draining. It's a silent form of noise. When you stop needing approval, you start earning respect. Say it again. When you stop needing approval, you start earning respect. This chapter is about freeing yourself from approval addiction. It's about reclaiming your attention, your energy, and your results. It's about being bold enough to stand for what you believe in without seeking validation. Why the need to be liked is dangerous. Approval is a leash. It tethers your decisions to other people's opinions. It controls your energy, your focus, and your direction. You delay action because you fear judgment. You modify your goals to avoid confrontation. You let noise dictate your priorities. You are giving away power. You are allowing noise to rule your life. You are sacrificing your potential for comfort. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to say no. You don't need validation to stay true to yourself. That's the key. Real-world examples. Consider an employee trapped by approval. They take on extra tasks, saying yes to every request. They overcommit. They burn out. They gain temporary praise but lose long-term progress. Now consider a disciplined professional. They assess each request. They say yes only when it aligns with priorities. They politely decline the rest. They conserve energy. They focus on high-impact work. They earn genuine respect, not forced admiration. Another example, social media interactions. Many people craft personas to be liked. They filter every post, every comment, every reaction. They sacrifice authenticity for fleeting approval. The result? Anxiety, self-doubt, loss of focus. Stop this cycle. You have a choice. Authenticity outweighs approval. Discipline outweighs popularity. How approval addiction manifests. Approval addiction shows up in many subtle ways. Over-explaining decisions. I had to do X because they might think otherwise. You justify, you rationalize, you explain unnecessarily. Agreeing to everything. Saying yes to maintain harmony even when it drains you. You overextend, you lose focus, you weaken boundaries. Politeness over purpose. Avoiding conflict at the cost of your goals. You sacrifice efficiency, results, and impact. All of these habits are noise. They distract you from what actually matters. They steal energy and control. The discipline of earning respect. When you let go of approval, you gain freedom. Freedom to say no without guilt. Freedom to prioritize high-value actions. Freedom to act strategically, not reactively. Respect is earned, not demanded. Respect comes when your decisions are consistent, principled, and results-driven. When you act from discipline, not insecurity, people notice. When you act from clarity, not fear, people follow. When you stop needing approval, you start earning respect. Practical strategies to let go of approval. 1. Pause before agreeing. Before saying yes, ask, does this align with my priorities? If not, say no. Politely, firmly, unapologetically. Set boundaries. Cleared boundaries communicate confidence and discipline. Boundaries protect your energy and your focus. People respect those who respect themselves. Limit external validation. Stop constantly checking for approval, likes, praise, compliments. Measure progress internally, not externally. Your worth is determined by results and discipline, not others' opinions. Embrace discomfort. Saying no, declining, standing firm. These feel uncomfortable at first. Growth and freedom come through discomfort. Discomfort strengthens resolve. Discomfort earns respect. Reflect daily. End each day by reviewing moments you sought approval unnecessarily. Identify patterns. Adjust. Discipline grows in reflection. The cost of seeking approval. If you continue seeking approval, energy leaks into irrelevant demands. Confidence erodes over time. Focus shifts away from your path. Results stagnate or regress. Most people live this way. They work tirelessly for external validation. They achieve temporary satisfaction, but never true power. You are not most people. You are disciplined. You are intentional. You have a choice. Shift your mindset now. From this moment onward, act from your priorities, not from the desire to please. Seek discipline, not popularity. Measure success by impact, not applause. When others criticize, let it inform, not control. When others disapprove, let it challenge, not deter. When others doubt, let it fuel, not shake. You don't need permission to stand firm. You don't need validation to act decisively. You have a choice. When you stop needing approval, you start earning respect. Repeat it until it is instinct.
The world screams at you constantly. Emails, notifications, messages, deadlines, emergencies. They never stop. Society trains you to react fast, to chase the urgent, to serve every demand. But here's the truth. Most of what screams urgent is noise. Urgent to them doesn't mean important to you. Say it again. Urgent to them doesn't mean important to you. This chapter is about mastering the skill of discernment. It's about knowing the difference between what demands your reaction and what demands your attention. It's about building the discipline to act on value, not on pressure. The danger of urgency. Urgency feels like pressure. It triggers stress. It hijacks focus. It makes you reactive, scattered, and ineffective. Society wants you moving fast. Clickbait headlines exploit your fear of missing out. Emotional triggers convince you everything is now. If you obey every urgent call, your life is a series of distractions. Your energy is depleted. Your priorities vanish. Your results shrink. You have a choice. You don't need their permission to prioritize. You don't need to react instantly. That's the key. Real-world examples of urgency traps. Workplace emergencies. Your boss emails in all caps, "We need this now." You drop everything, panic, and respond immediately. Hours later, you realize it wasn't urgent. It was routine, avoidable, or exaggerated. Social media and news. Notifications scream at you. Breaking news, must see. You click, you consume, you react emotionally. Time is lost, focus is lost, energy is drained. Emotional traps. A friend demands immediate advice. A relative pressures you for a decision. Your instinct is to react. Your discipline tells you, pause, assess, prioritize. Urgent to them doesn't mean important to you. The principle of discernment. Elite performers operate differently. They understand that value outweighs urgency. They respond to what matters, not to what shouts. Evaluate before you act. Every request or signal of urgency must pass the test. Does it align with my priorities? Filter noise. Separate the trivial from the vital. Act strategically. Respond only when action drives results. It's not about ignoring responsibility. It's about avoiding the trap of constant reaction. It's about reclaiming your attention from the tyranny of urgent demands. Why urgency feels compelling. Humans are wired to respond to alarms. Evolution taught us to act fast for survival. Modern life hijacks that instinct. Emails ping like threats. Notifications demand attention. Messages trigger fear of missing out. Your mind wants to obey. Your ego wants to be needed. Your habit is to react. Stop. You have a choice. You can obey the false alarms, or you can prioritize impact. Urgent to them doesn't mean important to you. Strategies to distinguish urgency from importance. 1. Implement the 5-minute pause rule. Before responding to any urgent request, pause 5 minutes. Ask, does this truly matter to my goals right now? Pause protects your clarity. 2. Use the Eisenhower matrix. Separate tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, neither. Prioritize based on importance, not reaction. 3. Filter notifications. Turn off non-critical alerts. Schedule times to review emails, messages, and social media. Reclaim focus from artificial urgency. 4. Assess emotional pull. Some urgency is emotional, not factual. Pressure from guilt, fear, or obligation is noise. Recognize it, acknowledge it, then choose your response. 5. Rehearse responses. Practice saying, I'll respond in a moment. Let's schedule a time. I'll consider and decide later. Disciplined phrasing builds mental immunity to urgency traps. The cost of obeying false urgency. When you react to every urgent signal, your priorities scatter, your energy dissipates, stress accumulates, your results weaken. Most people live in reactive chaos. They chase noise disguised as necessity. They burn out without creating real value. You are not most people. You are disciplined. You are intentional. You have a choice. Shift your mindset. From today onward, stop confusing other people's urgent matters with your important work. Pause before reacting. Prioritize value over pressure. Reclaim control of your attention. Urgency is seductive. Urgency is loud. Urgency is deceptive. Discipline is silent. Discipline is deliberate. Discipline produces results. Urgent to them doesn't mean important to you. Practical scenarios. Work emails. Evaluate importance. Respond in scheduled blocks. Family requests. Prioritize critical issues. Defer non-essential demands. Social media. Check on your schedule. Ignore false emergencies. News and alerts. Limit exposure. Focus on action-driven information. Every decision to act deliberately strengthens focus. Every pause reinforces mental boundaries. Every choice to ignore the urgent but irrelevant amplifies impact. Conclusion and transition. You've learned to distinguish urgent noise from true importance. You've learned to reclaim control of your attention, focus, and energy. You've learned that acting fast does not equal acting wisely. Next, we consolidate all these principles, attention, emotional neutrality, boundaries, discipline, into ultimate mastery. Your quiet power, now fully honed, will produce unstoppable results.
You've protected your attention. You've neutralized the noise. You've mastered emotional neutrality. You've learned that urgency isn't importance. Now it's time for the final transformation, turning all of this discipline into unstoppable, quiet power. Quiet power is not loud. It does not scream for recognition. It does not beg for approval. It acts relentlessly, strategically, with precision. You have a choice. You can continue reacting to every noise, every opinion, every alarm. Or you can step into discipline. You can step into mastery. You can step into quiet domination. That's the key. What is quiet power? Quiet power is the ability to control your mind, emotions, and focus so completely that the world reacts to you, not the other way around. It is self-mastery in its purest form. You don't seek attention. Attention seeks you. You don't chase validation. Respect naturally follows. You don't react to pressure. Pressure reacts to your discipline. It's not about arrogance. It's not about controlling others. It's about controlling yourself. It's about letting your results speak louder than your words. You don't need their permission to be powerful. The foundation of quiet power. Quiet power rests on 3 pillars: attention, emotional neutrality, and deliberate action. Number 1, attention. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Every distraction obeyed is energy wasted. Every reactive moment is a withdrawal you can never reclaim. Elite performers guard their attention like a fortress. They schedule, filter, and prioritize relentlessly. They know the world is filled with noise, and discipline is the filter. Number 2, emotional neutrality. Reacting emotionally is the fastest way to lose control. Neutrality doesn't mean suppression. Neutrality means clarity under pressure. You respond with reason, not instinct. You absorb criticism without losing balance. You engage strategically, not impulsively. Feel it. Don't feed it. Repeat it until it becomes instinct. Number 3, deliberate action. Power without action is potential wasted. Discipline without execution is meaningless. You must move decisively, after thought, in alignment with your priorities. Pause before responding. Evaluate urgency versus importance. Focus on impact over reaction. Real-world examples of quiet power. Consider the CEO who never reacts to gossip. The boardroom erupts in drama. Others panic. They fume. He remains calm. He makes decisions that change industries. Consider the athlete under pressure. The crowd is roaring. The moment is critical. They pause, breathe, focus, and execute flawlessly. Noise dissolves into clarity. Consider the writer, the creator, the entrepreneur. They ignore criticism, stay consistent, and build quietly. Months later, their work dominates their field. Quiet power is invisible at first, but its results are undeniable. Strategies to turn discipline into domination. Number 1, build mental boundaries. Your mind is your fortress. Filter what enters: opinions, distractions, and noise.
Rehearse control like an athlete rehearses plays. Your fortress is impregnable because your discipline is consistent. Number 2. Master deliberate pauses. One pause before a response changes everything. Pause before emails, pause before meetings, pause before decisions. The pause protects you. The pause strengthens you. Number 3. Prioritize high-value action. Identify tasks that move the needle. Ignore trivial noise. Focus energy where impact multiplies results. Every wasted moment is a step backward. Every disciplined action is a step forward. Number 4. Reinforce emotional neutrality daily. Check your responses to stress, criticism, and provocation. Practice observing emotions without feeding them. Neutrality is the tool that converts focus into power. Number 5. Maintain a long-term perspective. Quiet power is built over months, years, and decades. Don't seek instant recognition. Invest in consistency. Results compound silently, then explode visibly. The repetition of discipline. Discipline is the engine. Quiet power is the output. Guard attention. Protect emotional energy. Act deliberately. Ignore the unnecessary. Focus on impact. Repeat these actions daily. Internalize them. They are no longer rules, they are instinct. You don't need approval. You don't need urgency. You don't need to react to every noise. You have a choice. You have discipline. You have quiet power. Practical daily framework. Morning focus. Identify top priorities. Guard attention fiercely. Plan actions that create long-term impact. Midday check-in. Pause. Evaluate. Filter incoming noise. Reject distractions politely but firmly. Evening reflection. Assess decisions made under pressure. Evaluate moments you reacted unnecessarily. Reinforce wins. Adjust missteps. Consistency builds invisible momentum. Momentum builds results. Results build respect and influence. The cost of ignoring discipline. If you fail to harness quiet power, noise continues to dominate your mind. Urgency dictates your actions. Approval drives your decisions. Emotional reaction dictates outcomes. You become reactive. You burn energy. You achieve less than your potential. Most people live this way. Don't be most people. You have a choice. You have discipline. You have quiet power. Final mindset shift. Quiet power is not flashy. It's not loud. It's consistent. It's disciplined. It's strategic. You will be challenged. You will be tested. The world will demand attention, reaction, and approval. You have a choice. Respond or ignore. React or act deliberately. Chase noise or pursue results. Discipline is your weapon. Focus is your armor. Quiet power is your ultimate advantage.
The loudest noise you face is not outside, it's inside. It's the voice that whispers doubt when you're about to act. It's the fear that convinces you to pause when you should move. It's the insecurity that tells you you're not ready, not capable, not enough. Don't believe every thought. Don't obey every fear. Say it again. Don't believe every thought. Don't obey every fear. This chapter is about taking control of that inner dialogue. It's about recognizing that your greatest enemy often sits in your own mind. And it's about canceling that critic before it cancels your results, your focus, and your life. Recognize the inner noise.
Internal noise masquerades as reason. It uses logic, but it's motivated by fear. It questions, criticizes, and sabotages. Examples: you're not ready for this opportunity. They will laugh if you try. You can't do it. Maybe you should wait. Every one of these thoughts is optional. You have a choice. You don't need permission from your own mind to succeed. Elite performers treat the inner critic as a tool, not a master. They acknowledge it, then they redirect it. They neutralize it before it hijacks energy. The cost of ignoring the inner critic. If you obey every fear, you hesitate when action is required. You delay progress for perfection. You shrink from challenges instead of confronting them. Your potential fades while noise gains strength. Most failures are not external. Most failures are internal. Most people are canceled by themselves before the world even has a chance. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. You can cancel the critic. That's the key. Techniques to cancel the inner critic. 1. Reframe the thought. When fear speaks, challenge it. Example: I'm not ready becomes I will learn on the way, and learning creates results. Repetition strengthens this. Don't believe every thought. Don't obey every fear. Fear is optional. Action is mandatory. 2. Use discipline statements. Speak to yourself with authority. I control my focus. I decide my next move. Noise outside or inside does not dictate me. Your mind reacts to language. Discipline your speech and you discipline your thought. 3. Identity scripts. Build a personal script of who you are. I am disciplined. I am focused. I am unstoppable. Repeat it daily. Use it when doubt arises. Your identity becomes your anchor. When the critic rises, your script drowns it out. 4. Visualization of mastery. Visualize the challenge, then see yourself overcoming it calmly. Imagine the inner critic's voice, then imagine yourself ignoring it. Visualization strengthens neural pathways for courage and action. 5. Take immediate small action. Even one step toward the goal cancels the critic. Action proves the voice wrong. Action trains your brain to prioritize results over fear. Real-world examples. Entrepreneurs. They doubt ideas, second-guess decisions, fear failure. The difference? The disciplined cancel the critic before launching. They act. Results speak. Critics are silenced. Athletes. Before a critical match, fear whispers, "You can't do it." Elite athletes acknowledge it, then focus on the process. Their inner critic doesn't control the game. Their preparation does. Creators and writers. Every artist faces self-doubt. Those who cancel the critic daily produce consistently. Those who obey it remain frozen, waiting for perfect inspiration. Quiet action is louder than internal noise. Discipline is stronger than doubt. Daily practice for canceling the inner critic. Morning routine. Affirm identity scripts. Visualize challenges and mastery. Set intention. I choose action over fear. During the day. When self-doubt arises, pause. Speak disciplined statements. Reframe thoughts immediately. Take one decisive action. Evening reflection. Journal moments when fear tried to control you. Record how you canceled it. Plan improvements for tomorrow. Consistency rewires your mind. Discipline becomes automatic. Inner noise loses power over time. The repetition of transformation. This is not a one-time effort. This is daily, constant, relentless. Don't obey fear. Don't validate self-doubt. Don't let internal noise dictate results. Take control.
Own your mind. Take action. Dominate silently. Don't believe every thought. Don't obey every fear. The repetition transforms the way you respond. It strengthens mental boundaries. It builds resilience. It ensures your attention, focus, and energy remain yours alone. Mindset shift. Understand this. Your inner critic is not a prophecy. It is not truth. It is optional. The moment you cancel it, you reclaim time, energy, focus, results. You move from reaction to control. You move from fear to action. You move from noise to quiet power. It's not about eliminating every doubt. It's about discipline and how you respond to it. That's the difference between the reactive and the elite. That's the difference between failure and dominance. Your mind is only as strong as the clarity you allow. Chaos in your environment translates to chaos in your thinking. Noise is not only external. It hides in your schedule, your commitments, your endless obligations. If you want control, you must simplify. What you remove determines what you can build. Say it again. What you remove determines what you can build. This is the principle behind elite performers. Not more effort, not more hustle. Simplicity, discipline, focus. The power of minimalism for the mind. Minimalism is not about Instagram aesthetics. It's not about empty shelves or white walls. It's about creating mental clarity. Think about it. Every commitment you say yes to steals energy from what truly matters. Every distraction, no matter how small, fractures your focus. Look at the world's top performers. CEOs who schedule ruthlessly. Athletes who cut out unnecessary habits. Creators who remove noise before creating anything of value. They understand less is not less. Less is leverage. Less is freedom. Identify the noise. Step 1. Recognize what is cluttering your life. Commitments that drain energy without return. Toxic relationships that demand attention but offer nothing. Mindless consumption. Social media. Endless scrolling, reacting to everyone's drama. Each is a noise source. Each steals focus. Each dulls your mind's power. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. Say no to the noise. That's the key. Simplify your schedule. Time is the ultimate currency. How you spend it reflects your priorities. Look at your calendar. Are meetings productive? Are obligations aligned with your growth? Are you running from notification to notification? Simplification starts here. Remove non-essential commitments. Batch tasks to reduce cognitive switching. Create space to think, plan, and execute with focus. Every gap you create is an opportunity for disciplined action. Every pause is a moment where your mind can breathe. Eliminate mental clutter. Mental clutter is invisible but lethal. Rumination on things you cannot control. Worrying about others' opinions. Overanalyzing outcomes that haven't happened. Each thought you entertain gives the critic power. Each unnecessary worry fractures clarity. Solution? Disciplined mental triage. Ask, does this serve my focus? Ask, does this move me toward my goal? If not, remove it from your mind. Repetition is critical. What you remove determines what you can build. Simplify to amplify. Noise is optional. Clarity is mandatory. The freedom of fewer decisions. Decision fatigue is real. Every small choice drains mental energy. Every irrelevant decision weakens focus on what matters. Solution: fewer decisions. Pre-plan routines. Remove trivial choices from your day. Use defaults to reduce mental noise. Steve Jobs wore black turtlenecks. Mark Zuckerberg wears gray tees. Why? Because simplicity frees the mind to tackle what matters: high-stakes, high-impact decisions. You don't need permission to control your environment. You don't need permission to guard your energy. That's the key. Relationships and communication. Simplification extends to who you interact with. Are you engaging with people who drain energy? Are you replying to every message that sparks anxiety or doubt? Learn this. Not every noise deserves your energy. Not every relationship deserves your time. You rise the moment you remove toxic or irrelevant influences. You elevate when you create space for meaningful connections. Focus on high-value relationships that support growth. Cut the rest. Simplify. Protect your mind. The discipline of possessions. Your environment affects your clarity. Cluttered spaces equal cluttered thinking. Remove items that no longer serve purpose. Organize spaces to reflect priority and order. Keep tools that enhance efficiency. Discard everything else. Every object you remove reinforces control. Every simplification is a mental victory. What you remove determines what you can build. Every removal creates room for power. Every deletion increases your ability to act decisively. Daily practice to simplify. Morning review. Identify the day's essentials. Schedule only what aligns with your growth. Block time for uninterrupted focus. Mind audit. When a thought arises, ask, does this serve my focus? Does this move me toward my goal? Remove distractions immediately. Evening reflection. Evaluate what commitments, thoughts, or interactions drained your energy. Plan to remove or limit them tomorrow. Consistency is your ally. Simplification is not a one-day fix. It's a habit, a muscle you strengthen daily. Real-world examples. Entrepreneur. He canceled meetings that didn't produce ROI. He removed unnecessary tasks. Focus soared. Productivity doubled. Athlete. She eliminated nighttime distractions. She reduced social obligations. Performance peaked under clarity and discipline. Creator. He stopped reacting to every comment online. He cut non-essential projects. His work became sharper, louder, and impactful. Simple choices, huge results. Repetition and mental anchoring. Say it until it becomes instinct. What you remove determines what you can build. Simplify to amplify. Noise is optional. Clarity is mandatory. Your mind is a machine. Fuel it with focus. Starve it of distractions. You have a choice. You don't need permission. That's the key.
Your mind is a garden. What you plant grows. What you allow in determines your harvest. Yet most people treat their minds like a landfill. They consume constant noise, negativity, and chaos, thinking it's normal. They scroll, they binge, they click, they react. And then they wonder why they feel drained, anxious, and small. Protect what enters your mind like you protect your home. Say it again. Protect what enters your mind like you protect your home. This is not optional. This is not convenient. This is a discipline. This is power. The influence of digital noise. Let's be honest. Digital consumption shapes behavior more than environment. If you spend hours on social media, doom scrolling, following chaos, your mood, your beliefs, your self-worth are hijacked. You see curated success and compare yourself. You feel inadequate. You read fear-driven headlines and panic. You feel powerless. You watch reactive personalities and mimic their chaos. You feel restless. Every swipe is a choice. Every click is a vote. Every scroll either strengthens your mind or weakens it. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. Choose clarity over clutter. Choose strength over reaction. Recognize what weakens you. Step 1. Identify content that drains you. Negativity disguised as news. Drama masquerading as entertainment. Opinions pretending to be expertise. Ask yourself, does this content serve my growth? If the answer is no, remove it. Immediately, ruthlessly. Every stream of negativity is a mental toxin. Every minute consumed weakens your focus, your confidence, your energy. It's not about staying uninformed. It's about staying empowered. Consume to grow, not to fear, not to react, not to mimic. The power of selective consumption. Elite performers know the value of selective intake. Warren Buffett reads, but only focused high-value material. Serena Williams studies, but only strategies and techniques that elevate performance. Entrepreneurs, leaders, creators, they limit exposure to what serves their goals. They understand, your mind is a weapon, and a weapon works best when sharpened, not dulled. You have a choice. Every piece of content you allow in either strengthens you or weakens you. That's the key. Limit exposure to chaos. Chaos comes in many forms. Social media arguments, constant notifications, viral content designed to provoke emotion, not insight. These are traps designed to keep you reactive. They make you small. They steal your energy. Solution? Boundaries. Schedule content intentionally. Choose sources that uplift, educate, or inspire. Delete apps, mute feeds, unfollow toxicity. Every boundary you enforce strengthens discipline. Every restriction creates space for your mind to grow. Practical strategies. Time-blocked consumption. Allow a fixed window for news or social media. Outside that window, no scrolling, no reacting. Curate your feeds. Follow creators who teach, uplift, or inform. Unfollow chaos, negativity, and drama. Replace noise with growth. Read books that expand understanding. Listen to audiobooks that teach skill, mindset, and discipline. Engage in conversations that challenge positively. Repeat this to yourself. Protect what enters your mind like you protect your home. Consume to strengthen, not to weaken. Every scroll is a choice. Make it count. Real-world examples. Doom-scrolling victim. He spent hours on negative news, spiraling daily. Anxiety ruled his morning. Productivity collapsed. Solution? He limited intake, curated content, and replaced doom with strategy. Energy returned. Focus returned. Confidence returned. The chaotic creator-follower. She mimicked every viral trend, reacting emotionally online. Her mental clarity disappeared. Her creativity suffered. Solution? She unfollowed chaos, studied skilled creators, and redirected her energy to meaningful work. Influence grew, not anxiety. You can see the pattern. Noise weakens, discipline strengthens. You decide what enters. You decide what thrives. The internal connection. It's not just digital. Every word you read, every image you see, every sound you absorb affects your internal state. Negative thoughts amplify when fed negativity. Fear grows when consumed in excess. Self-doubt becomes louder when surrounded by chaos. You cannot control the world, but you can control your intake. You cannot control external noise, but you can master internal clarity. You have a choice. You don't need permission. That's the key. Repetition and mental anchoring. Repeat it until it sinks. Protect what enters your mind like you protect your home.
Not every voice deserves attention. Not every story deserves belief. Digital noise is optional. Mental clarity is mandatory. Your mind is the battlefield. Your intake is the ammunition. Choose wisely. Discipline ruthlessly. Strengthen relentlessly.
Listen carefully. Power is not loud. Authority is not frantic. Influence is not desperate. The loudest, most reactive person in the room rarely leads. The calmest person in the room always commands. Calm is not soft. Calm is commanding. Say it. Feel it. Embed it. Calm is not soft. Calm is commanding. This is the final truth of neutralizing the noise. Control your energy, and you control everything around you. Control your calm, and others follow. The value of calm. Calmness is invisible strength. It's magnetic. People unconsciously gravitate toward it. They sense confidence, stability, and clarity. A CEO walks into a tense boardroom. Every argument stops. Decisions are made, not pressured. A negotiator sits silently, listening, while others rush to talk themselves into weakness. Deals tilt toward the patient, calm mind. An emergency responder moves deliberately, unhurried, while chaos swirls around. Lives are saved. Every example reinforces one rule. Calm is not a lack of action. Calm is disciplined action. Calm is not detachment. Calm is precise focus. Calm as a strategy. Most people react. They respond to every spike of emotion, every opinion, every demand. This is noise, and noise is weakness. When you cultivate calm, you create space. You see the full picture. You notice what others miss. You control the pace. You dictate the rhythm of conversation, negotiation, conflict. You protect your energy. Your focus stays intact even under pressure. You have a choice. You don't have to mirror panic. You don't have to mimic chaos. You don't need their permission to maintain serenity. Real-world examples. Emergency situations. Paramedics, firefighters, and crisis managers operate in high-stress environments. Panic kills, calm saves. Their focus is laser-sharp because they neutralize internal noise first. Every step is deliberate. Every decision is calculated. Conflict in the workplace. The loudest voice rarely carries weight. The calm, firm voice that listens first, speaks second, sets the tone, and controls the outcome. Negotiations. Ever notice how the calmest person at the table gets the best deal? Everyone else rushes to fill silence, to justify, to over-explain. Silence is power. Calm is leverage. Calm is not absence of emotion. Calm is mastery of emotion. This is why leaders, warriors, and top performers value composure above all else. Practical steps to build calm. Regulate your breath. Deep, slow, deliberate breaths anchor your mind. Panic is a signal from the body. Controlled breathing rewires the response. Pause before reacting. Don't answer immediately. Don't respond to every spike of tension. One pause can turn chaos into clarity. One pause can turn weakness into authority. Internal rehearsal. Visualize stressful scenarios before they happen. Practice remaining unshaken, controlled, deliberate. Discipline builds neural pathways. Calm becomes instinctive.
Monitor energy, not words. Your calm communicates louder than your speech. People respond to energy before logic. Calm, steady energy signals mastery. Neutralize external noise. Calm is your shield against external chaos. It neutralizes criticism, pressure, distraction. It turns reactive energy into predictable, manageable input. They can yell, they can provoke, they can escalate. You remain calm. You observe, you act. This is the ultimate skill of neutralizing noise. Not every external disturbance requires a reaction. Not every opinion demands acknowledgement. Not every situation justifies chaos. It's not about absence of emotion. It's about presence of discipline. Repetition to internalize. Say it until it becomes a reflex. Calm is not soft. Calm is commanding. Reacting is optional. Composure is mandatory. Your energy dictates the room. Your calm dictates outcomes. Breathe, pause, observe, act, repeat. The more you practice this, the more it becomes automatic. Your calm is no longer learned, it is instinctive. You no longer react to the world, you influence it. The ultimate weapon of success is not speed. It is not volume. It is silent power. Conclusion and call to action. Now reflect. You have followed this journey. You learned to guard your attention. You practiced pausing before action. You trained your mind to ignore low-level noise. You disciplined your emotional responses. You decided without asking for permission. And now you stand at the final truth. Calm is your highest leverage. Your ability to remain unshaken amplifies every skill, every decision, every interaction. You have a choice. You don't need permission to lead. You don't need approval to act. You don't need chaos to validate your strength. Calm is not soft. Calm is commanding. Harness it. Own it. Radiate it. Walk into every room as the person who steadies, influences, and commands. Let your calm be your signature.
Listen closely. Most people are paralyzed by one thing: waiting for permission. Waiting for someone else to approve their next move. Waiting for validation before taking action. And while they wait, life passes by. Opportunities slip. Growth stalls. Momentum dies. Decide for yourself. Move for yourself. Say it, feel it, repeat it. Decide for yourself. Move for yourself. This is not arrogance, this is discipline. This is not defiance, this is clarity. This is how winners operate. They make decisions, they act, they take responsibility, always. The danger of external validation. We live in a world addicted to approval. Every notification, every opinion, every comment fuels the habit. We check, we hesitate, we question, we stall. You want to start a business? What will people think? You want to change careers? Will my friends approve? You want to set boundaries? Will they like me? All of these thoughts are noise. All of them are external, and all of them are optional. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. Their approval does not equal your success. Their validation does not create your reality. The cost of waiting. Every day you wait is a withdrawal from your potential. Every pause for permission is a pause for growth. Look at the examples. Entrepreneurs who waited for mentors to say yes lost deals. Artists who waited for critics' approval lost time they can never recover. Leaders who waited for consensus missed opportunities to innovate. Waiting is easy. It feels safe. It feels polite. But it is costly. It is a silent assassin of ambition. Decide with clarity. Decision-making is a muscle. You must train it. It grows stronger every time you choose without asking. Start small. Make your own breakfast differently. Decide your schedule. Choose your focus. Scale up. Decide your projects, your goals, your moves without hesitation. Observe the results, adjust, repeat. Every decision you make independently strengthens your discipline. Every decision you outsource weakens your authority over your life. It's not about arrogance, it's about responsibility. You lead your life, nobody else does. Real-world examples. Business owner. She wanted to pivot her company into a new market. She asked colleagues, mentors, even her family. Everyone hesitated, everyone doubted. Then she decided on her own. She acted, she launched, she won. Momentum rewarded decisiveness. Athlete. He ignored external criticism about changing his training method. He trusted his judgment, focused on discipline, and improved faster than peers who waited for approval. Every example reinforces one truth. Waiting for permission is optional. Action without permission is mandatory for growth. The noise you ignore. When you make decisions without asking, a strange thing happens. Noise intensifies. People question you. Opinions flood in. Doubts emerge. That's good. That's necessary. If everyone agrees immediately, you're not moving. You're following. Noise is the cost of independence. Discipline is the reward for action. Silence in decision-making is a form of power. Remember, they can react, they can argue, they can doubt, but your decision doesn't need permission to exist. Your momentum doesn't need their approval to move forward. Practical strategies. Create your decision criteria. Know your goals, your values, your limits. Decide based on your framework, not on external opinions. Set deadlines for decisions. Give yourself a fixed period to gather necessary information. Once the window closes, act. No extensions, no excuses. Build an inner confidence script. Repeat affirmations. I decide. I act. I take responsibility. No one controls my momentum. These phrases reinforce independence and reduce doubt. Practice daily decisiveness. Small, inconsequential choices first, then scale up to larger, more impactful decisions. Repetition embeds this truth. Decide for yourself, move for yourself. Do not wait, do not ask, do not hesitate. Discipline is your permission, momentum is your reward. The transformation. Here's what happens when you internalize this. Noise becomes background static, not a directive. Pressure becomes a motivator, not a prison. Your life moves forward regardless of external approval. You become unstoppable. You move with clarity. You build an internal authority that no opinion can shake. It's not about being defiant. It's about being disciplined. It's not about ignoring others. It's about obeying your own vision. Repetition and mental anchoring. Say it until it becomes instinct. You have a choice. You don't need their permission. Momentum waits for no one. Action defines results. Decide, act, repeat. This is the quiet power of self-leadership. This is the secret weapon that separates winners from reactors. Listen, You came here for one reason, to take back control of your mind. And now you know the truth. The world will never get quieter. People will never stop talking. Distractions will never stop chasing you. But you can become stronger than all of it. You learned how to guard your attention, how to pause before you react, how to stay neutral, calm, unshakable. You learned how to silence the outside noise and amplify the inner voice that builds winners. Now, the responsibility is yours. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. You can go back to the old pattern, reacting, explaining, defending, losing your energy to every noise. Or you can choose the path of discipline, clarity, and control.